The Senate is set to screen President Bola Tinubu's ministerial nominees on Monday. Later on the program,
these schools or telling schools or whatever the name or the appellation they are called should not think of Christy tariff now. It is not auspicious.
The spokesman of the Senate will talk to us about the modalities of screening the ministers designate. And also on the program, House of Representatives Ada Committee wades into the resident doctor strike. This is the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adiri. The Senate President has read out the list of President Bola Tinubu's ministerial nominees. 28 names were sent to the National Assembly for screening and confirmation, and the promise that more names will be sent in due course. The Senate has set Monday, the 31st day of this month, as a date to begin the screening. The Senate had to make an exception and set aside its rule to give speedy consideration to the President's request to screen and confirm the ministers designate.
Requests for confirmation of ministerial nominees. In compliance with the provisions of Section 147, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I am pleased to forward to the Senate for confirmation the underlisted 28 ministerial nominees. 1. Abubakar Momo. 2. Ambassador Yusuf Maitama Chuka, CON. 3. Architect Ahmad Dangiwa. 4. Barrister Hanatu Musawa. 5. Chief Uche Naji. 6. Dr. Beta Edu. 7. Dr. Doris Anite Uzoka. 8. His Excellency David Omaye.
Let the poor breathe. This was the prayer of the Senate when they passed a resolution urging the electricity distribution companies to halt their planned increase in tariff. This move was supported by a majority of lawmakers that say Nigerians are already groaning under the hardship caused by the removal in petroleum subsidy.
Urge Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission to decentralize proposed engagement with stakeholders scheduled for Abuja to the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation for effective participation by all. Further urge NERC to explore alternative measures to address the financial challenges faced by the DISCO, such as improving operational efficiency, reducing technical and commercial losses, and enhancing revenue collective mechanisms.
I would like to back the motion, which was co-sponsored by myself and aptly read by Senator Yunus Akintunde, by calling on the federal government to intervene as a matter of urgency to halt this proposed increase in tariffs.
Senator Adams Oshiomhole was saved from the wrath of his colleagues by an apology for the statement he made, insinuating that members of the 9th Senate looted the properties in their offices, leaving nothing behind for new senators that will occupy the offices. All attempts to give Senator Oshiomhole a safe landing did not get the support of other lawmakers. They only let the matter to go after Senator Adams Oshiomhole apologized.
I need the protection of this Senate and other colleagues of ours who serve in the 9th Senate, and to call upon the distinguished senator who made this comment to address the Senate as to why he has to go that route without seeking for further clarification from this Senate, or else he should come up, stand up, and apologize publicly.
Whoever it is should publicly apologize. And if he is here, he should stand up and apologize. Otherwise, we will refer this matter to the Ethics and Privileges Committee.
How can this honest attempt to explain a reality be perceived as disrespecting the National Assembly? For those who feel that that's my comment, which was meant to protect our collective image, was offensive, of course I apologize.
It's hereby noted and the matter is concluded.
Joining me live in the studio to speak more to some of the matters arising from the Senate is the spokesman, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, and he is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs. It's good to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank you, my very dear sister.
So finally, the ministerial list is now with the Senate. 28 names were received by the Senate. And the talk now is, how constitutionally right is this? Did Mr. President actually abide by the Constitution? Do you think that any law was breached by him sending 28 names to the Senate?
No, no law was breached. The constitutional provision is that Mr. President should send the nominees for ministers to the Senate within 60 days of assumption of duty, assumption of office, which was May 29th, 2023. And then he had conformed with that provision. He has sent nominees for ministerial appointments to the Senate. How many nominees that Mr. President will send is prerogative of the executive. We are only saying that, okay, it must be so number or that number. Let Mr. President feels that these are the numbers that can serve him well. So be it, but he has submitted, and he has even told us in his communication to the Senate that others are still coming. So for now, the ones that he has found very worthy for nomination, he has sent them to the National Assembly, that is via the Senate.
And any time frame given for that second batch?
No, we are not going to bind Mr. President about time frame, but we believe that within a very short while, maybe before we finish screening the 28 members, nominees that were sent, because it's not going to be in a hurry, even the screening. That's why the Senate is suspending its annual vacation to ensure that the nominees are screened timelessly.
So the Senate set aside some of its standing rules to begin the screening of the presidential nominee, the ministerial nominees on Monday, starting from Monday. How long exactly do you think this exercise is going to take?
Well, it depends. When we get to that bridge, we will start crossing it. If we are going to use a canoe or a boat or a ship, or we are going to swim across, or we are going to use our leg to cross it, then when we now get to the nitty-gritty of the screening on Monday, and then it depends on the questions raised, it depends on so many posters that are put before us, because Nigerians have already known the names that are submitted as nominees, and then I'm very sure that many Nigerians will react to, even from our own senatorial districts and constituencies all over Nigeria. They will react. Some of them, many Nigerians will get across to us. So when they get across to us, and then we that will represent the people too, we are going to look at individuals, because we don't have that spirit of clairvoyance to know those people that are going to be submitted as nominees by Mr. President. And so we only got everything yesterday, like other Nigerians too. So between yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Monday, we would have gotten so many other dossiers and so many other information and so many other facts about nominees. And so we are going to consider everything. That's why it's not going to be something that is going to be in a hurry. So because we want to get the best. So if everybody scales through, good and fine. If not, we will give reasons. So that is what the Senate is.
Well, you said you don't have full details about these ministerial nominees yet, but you know some of them. What do you think about the mix of this selection of
yes,
this?
Without prejudice to our duties, constitutional duties of screening and confirming. So I might not be able to be commenting on the personal characters of individual nominees because they will be comment. But for me, as an individual, I've seen an admixture. Politicians, technocrats, women, and this is the first time, 25% exactly, that affirmative voice that women have been seeking for in Nigeria. So we find it out because 7 out of 28, that is exactly 25%. And we know that if others are still coming, either they are 5 or 10 or 15 or whichever number that Mr. President is bringing, we are very sure that women will be included too. So that one, personally, I'm even very elated as a Nigerian. Then secondly, when you look at those people, so Mr. President did not even limit it to his party. He did not even limit it to only politics. There are some who are not politicians. There are some who are not APC. There are some who are people that have experiences that we know in Nigeria because we know ourselves. So that's why personally I commend Mr. President for bringing that kind of list to us.
Portfolios were not attached to these names. How would the lawmakers, carry out a screening that is expected to be thorough without portfolios attached?
Well, thank you very much. Because one is that a minister is supposed to be a coordinating general in the ministry where he or she is assigned to oversee. And we believe that once you are a minister, you must have knowledge in almost everything that is in that ministry. One, if you are a governor and you build bridges, doesn't mean that you are an engineer. If you are a governor and you build hospitals, doesn't mean that you are a medical doctor. You must be able to know how to harness all the brains that are in that ministry or that parastatals together and then get results. Because government has policy, and that policy is just for you to work towards achieving the aims and objectives of that policy. So we believe that unless and except in some very rare cases, which are quite technical and highly professional, maybe in medical area especially, you say, oh, somebody who has medical experience should be there. But for goodness sake, if someone wants to go to be a minister for special duties, what's supposed to be is specialization? What's supposed to be? Does it mean that a medical doctor cannot be in charge of special duties? Does it mean that an engineer cannot be in charge of special duties? Then do we interview that person towards only special duties? At the end of the day, the judgment that is arrived at by the 10th Senate to be forwarded to the executive will justify the exercise and justify the weight that Nigerians have given to the government for the past 2 months that the government had been in place.
All right, distinguished, we'll take a short breather now. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Glad to have you back. If you're just joining us, we have been speaking with the chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs. His name is Senator Yemi Adaramodu. Thank you for staying with us on the program.
Thank you,
we have been speaking about the ministerial list, but speaking about doing a thorough job, the Senate already has a standing tradition of extending special privileges to former members or members of the National Assembly to take a bow and go. Do you think this is going to be fair to the process, assuming that your colleagues, already have that capacity to function as ministers and not undergo that screening process?
Well, my dear sister, the issue is this. When a nominee gets to the front of the Senate in the chambers, the nominee will be given the opportunity of showcasing himself or herself. After that, if senators fake, especially from his or her constituency or senatorial district, think that there are no questions for him or her to answer, you will take a bow and go. Even when you answer 1,000 questions, you will still take a bow and go. If you answer no questions, you will still take a bow and go, because that's the tradition. It is a hallowed chamber, and then anything that is done there is absolute, not privileged. So the judgment is for the Senate to do, and then to make their returns to Mr. President on what they have found out about you. So that's just that's it.
All right, moving on to other matters. During the week, the Senate passed some resolutions concerning the planned or proposed hike by some Nigerian discos, electricity distribution companies, on their planned hike in tariffs. And one of that popular resolution is the popular saying of let the poor breathe. Yes. Some people have taken this in bad context. They feel that lawmakers are actually making fun of the feelings of Nigerians. What do you have to say about this?
No, that's not possible. That's very misplaced. Lawmakers can never make fun of Nigerians, because we are in the chamber on behalf of Nigerians. So we were not appointed. We were voted for. We ran campaigns. We went to every nook and cranny of where we come from, either as constituency or as senatorial district. We solicited and sought for the support and votes of the people, and they brought us to Abuja. So there's no way we just come into the hallowed chambers and make fun or make jest. If we do that, we are making fun and jest of ourselves too. So that is just the reality. But the issue of let the poor breathe, in Nigeria, we will always, and it's just like that all over the world. There must be this social sobriquet of whatever. And the issue of electricity bill, we know it is not apt now. That is why it came up on the floor of the Senate that, look, these schools or schools or whatever the name or the appellation they are called, should not think of increasing tariff now. It is not auspicious. It is going to strangulate.
But they are
Nigerians.
also arguing that this is also the situation in the country is also affecting their businesses, and they have to also be in business. So how do we balance the two sides?
I cannot see what situation in the country that is seriously affecting them directly, that we warrant that one. Because when you talk of even a generation of power, distribution of power, I have not seen, because if power is generated and distributed very well, we will not even rely on diesel. And then the issue of oil subsidy removal, the effects will be less on us. So, and I don't think they can argue in that wise that, oh, maybe because of the situation. So it shouldn't be, because everybody in Nigeria, at times, we Nigerians, we have to be very patriotic. Even those people that are palm wine tappers, they will say, oh, because even when they don't need diesel or petrol or kerosene to get palm wine to the town, because of removal of petroleum subsidy, so we have to increase it. Federal government is urged to just plead to them, to talk to them, that they should shelve that idea, and that when you say let the poor breathe, everybody needs breathing. I need oxygen too. Like my brother in Elawekiti, we all need oxygen to breathe. If I don't breathe, then I'm not alive and I will not be here. So definitely I need oxygen to breathe. So let all Nigerians breathe. So but we share everything that happens with fellow Nigerians, with our constituents, because they send us to be in Abuja to represent them. If they say no to us, we cannot be here. And since we are here, we have to uphold what they have instructed them to uphold, and that is their welfare. And anything that is going to tamper or is going to imperil their welfare is what we have to fight against.
All right, there was another matter that came up on the floor of the Senate, which had to, warrant one of your colleagues to apologize. I'm speaking of Senator Oshiomhole, where he accused the members of the 9th Assembly of cutting away with office equipment and some vehicles and all of that. He later apologized for that. But do you think there's some atom of truth in it, and it's just that he was pointing fingers in the wrong direction?
Thank you very much. That Senator, very distinguished Senator Oshiomhole, a grandfather of progressive politics in Nigeria, as a pioneer chairman of my own party, APC, and the former governor of Edo State, he was quoted out of context. Yes, he said he was talking about what happened when he came to the National Assembly fresh. And everybody knows, even today, we are talking about even appropriation to the National Assembly for provision of items and materials were even misconstrued to be a largesse for members of the National Assembly, especially the legislators. Very misconstrued. That's another discussion. But the issue of Senator Oshiomhole apologizing is not that kind. It's not like that. What he said and what the situation was really was that in the next assembly, many legislators bought their own materials by themselves. In the next assembly, and any other assembly for that matter, if you have a television set and you want to go with it, they will tell you to indicate whether you are going with it. When you indicate that you are going with it, they will charge you and take it from your last salary and allowances. And if your salary and allowances could not cover it, then they will take it from your severance. And that is where you can take it. And then it needs replacement. But when legislators resume fresh, the replacement wouldn't have been done. In fact, they wouldn't have even collected. Because any money that any legislator is charged to pay goes to the federation account. It does not go to account of the National Assembly or legislators, either senators or reps members. It does not. It goes back and it forms part of the revenue of government. So now, before the new things, the new items were granted or given to senators or reps, then almost all reps and senators would have purchased their own. Because you cannot just be in an office and be staring at the wall without watching television, maybe for 3 months or 6 months, when a television set will be brought to you.
So are you saying you are speaking from a point of frustration?
Frustration, and at the same time, when Nigerians were accusing senators, House of Reps of all this and of all that. Senator Oshiomhole is coming to the National Assembly for the first time, as a first time. So you will now think, oh, people are just cutting away all these things. That is how it was. And then the other time, like I said, that let us put aside the appropriation for getting items in the National Assembly. That was why 70 billion naira was even budgeted for, to get all these things together. Because for the past 30 years, that National Assembly edifice had been there had never been any deliberate or concerted effort of even replacing those items. Once they make budget, there's provision for 1 or 2 television sets for your office. And so once it gets spoiled, then where do you expect them to go and get money to go and replace all those things? So you will replace by yourself. And when you replace by yourself, and it is on record that you have replaced by yourself, you have to take your thing away. And so when you take it away, anybody that is visiting the National Assembly for the first time will think you are looting. And all those things that were taken away, which could not be replaced, then they have to make budget for it. And then the budget for all those items were done only once.
In the House of Representatives, an ad hoc committee have held talks with the National Association of Resident Doctors with the aim of finding a middle ground to resolve ongoing labor disputes and persuade them to return to work. At the meeting, all issues were laid bare and commitments made by the House of Reps committee to find a lasting solution to complaints of the resident doctors.
We must approach these issues with an open mind and guided by the fact that revenues available to the government may not fully meet our demands. Therefore, we must find a middle ground that satisfies everyone without prejudice to the 2023 Memorandum of Understanding.
So many promises. In fact, even last week, we got a promise for us to wait for a day or two. Now we are being asked again to wait for 2 weeks. We are leaders of the association, and we are going to communicate this request to our members. Of course, they take their decision.
Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives has inaugurated 134 standing committees for the oversight function of the Parliament. Honorable Tajuddin Abbas charges the committees to prioritize national interest far and above members' personal desire. This comes 45 days in the life of the 10th House of Representatives.
Even as we embark on the oversight of other arms of government, we must see the powers of oversight given to us by the Constitution as a means to promote good governance through compliance to the laws of the land.
He says given the high turnover of new legislators, there is need to build the capacity of newly appointed committee chairmen and their deputies.
Separation of powers does not mean separation of government. We are one and the same government with sole purpose of providing services to the good people of this nation. We remain committed to a harmonious working relationship with the executive in order to deliver on the mandate of the people. However, we will not fail to bring full legislative powers to bear on recalcitrant MDS. Operation Committee, we have Honorable Abubakar Bichi as the chairman, Honorable Idu Igarwe PDP Ebonyi as his deputy. Constitutional Review, Honorable Benjamin Kalu.
That is our package this week. You can watch a repeat broadcast of this program at 7 a.m. on Sunday. Also, you can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adeoye. See you next time.